have it improve, even as you get older, right? Okay. Does anybody, I kind of mentioned, anybody that's noticed any improvements through nutritional work that they've done with me here? Anybody want to just like take a minute to share, inspire anybody else? Anyone? Heather back there would like to. You want to come up here?
Oh,
Sorry to make you do that. I just don't want everybody to have a kink in their neck at the end of the day.
Okay.
I had to turn around to see that lady talk.
I
Is
guess-
it okay you're on the camera?
Pardon?
Is it okay you're on the camera?
Oh.
Come over here. Come sit over here. Thank you, Heather.
Yeah. Well, I met Dr. Nancy at it was an educational,
It was a wellness fair,
Wellness fair,
school
yeah.
district wellness fair. Yeah.
and I think I was feeling kind of depressed, and I had some joint issues and just muscle soreness. So I came and did I think about a year now that I saw her about a year ago, and I feel much better now. And I had my daughters come. Now I have my husband back there, and she just helped him with lots of different, probably educate us on things that we can eat that will help make us stronger, and then some specific things to do. So it's not like you're married to this really hard thing that you have to do. You have to change your whole life. You just kind of adapt it to what you're used to doing in some ways, and gradually you just don't want the stuff that doesn't make you feel good.
Perfect. Yep.
So
That's all. Thank you, Heather.
yeah,
Thank
there
you.
you go.
And that's all part, appreciate it. That's all part of the empowerment process, is giving back to people the empowerment to take responsibility for their own health, to learn about, well, when I do this or that, what feels better. And it's hard to do that when you're feeling so bad. It's really hard to do it. So we help you kind of get on your feet, start feeling better, start being more aware. And then I love that you said, feeling stronger, mentally stronger, more, in control, more motivated. And, I wasn't motivated to exercise at all. When I was feeling at my worst, I was lucky to push the stroller around the block, And so it felt really good to finally want to go out and do something. And a couple of years ago, I walked a half marathon. So that was kind of fun. It took me a long time, but still I did it. It took me like 3 hours to walk 13 hours, but 3 hours to walk 13 miles. It's like 13 miles. But still I did it, and I wasn't sore the next day because I had been training. So the point is that, it feels good to get out and do things. Okay, so did anybody else want to share? I don't want to not have everybody else good. Okay, I'll give you the opportunity. Appreciate that. And, no matter what it is, like I said earlier, I can have, 100 patients with headaches, and each and every one of them could have a different headache. So we need to always figure out, well, what organ is not functioning right? Is there an organ or organs that are not functioning right? There may or may not be. And what are the nutritional deficiencies? Are there nutritional deficiencies? So most people that see me have one or more of these things, because most people do have nutritional deficiencies. I know for me, I ate pretty well when I was a kid, but I remember eating Captain Crunch. They still have Captain Crunch? Yeah. It's crazy. Why does that still exist, Anyway. Because kids like it. But that wasn't, Frosted Flakes, Rice Krispies, whatnot. But, we ate pretty good dinners and whatnot. But, TV dinners in the 70s. I grew up in the 70s eating TV dinners. So, all of us that grew up with whatever, we do end up with some nutritional deficiencies. And then one or more organs, because this is like our factory that's not getting fed properly, one or more organs is going to maybe be a little off kilter. This book in the middle there, Thyroid Healing, is phenomenal because there's now another epidemic, in addition to diabetes, of thyroid problems. What's with all the thyroid problems, right? So there's a reason for it, and there's something going on, and I don't like people getting labeled with this, that, or the other disease, because every disease, every diagnosis has a reason. Most of them anyway. Some are just genetic, and it's a genetic thing. But for the most part, you've got arthritis, fibromyalgia, migraines, neuropathy, on and on and on. It's for a reason. Some people say, well, I just have arthritis. Well, the word itis means inflammation. So you have inflammation of your joints. There's a reason why the joints are inflamed. If we figure out the reason, bye-bye arthritis. So it's not like, this sentence like, oh, I just have this. A lot of the testimonials on my website actually say, I used to have fibromyalgia. That's a nice thing to be able to say. I used to have fibromyalgia and weighed 40 pounds more than I do now. Now I have more energy, da, da, da. That's, one of the many testimonials that, I get to see people's lives transform. So it's pretty awesome, right? So I had to do it for myself first to feel good enough to help other people. That's part of the reason I wasn't practicing. I wasn't really feeling up to it, besides having all the kids. So this is what happens. We have deficiencies, organ dysfunction, and then symptoms. It could be any kind of symptom at all, right? And this just becomes a vicious cycle that just gets worse and worse and worse. And people that, are looking for answers, what are the options? You can take one path of, medications and surgeries, maybe have something removed, maybe that'll help, probably not, right? And then all these medications that people are taking. Does that really fix anything? No. Okay, those are just chemicals. Those are not, that's not what our body needs. Our body needs food to heal and to function. Okay? And so what we do here in my practice is that we identify through some different tests. We use something called muscle testing. It's like a reflex analysis using the person's own body to identify what specifically is going on with the body, specifically what organs are not functioning right, what deficiencies are needed, and combine a whole program where we're helping them make sure that they're sleeping well. Really important to sleep well. So that's one of my priorities. Sleeping well, going to the bathroom well every day. Some people don't realize they should have bowel movements every day. They're like, oh, I go once every few days. I'm like, okay. You're supposed to go at least once a day, not more than once a day. Okay? And so sleep, bowel movements, digesting, be able to eat, feeling good, all these things that we talked about. If those things are not going well, we need to figure out why to get you feeling better. Because you're not going to want to exercise or even eat right if you're so tired. You're going to be grabbing a Red Bull or coffee or whatever. If you're really into health, maybe you're going to go to the health food store and get some B vitamins, But it's really not going to fix the underlying issue. So it's much better than to identify which organs and glands are causing a problem and be able to help your body rebuild from the inside out, right? And now changing one's diet can be really tricky. And so that's why I actually have people keep food logs. Can you grab me one of those? Right there. They keep food logs, and I actually did this myself for about 6 months, and it really did help. The food logs increase your awareness of, well, what am I eating anyway? And then you're like, kind of have this aha moment. So these food logs are really simple to use. You just fold them up, stick them in your bag, write them and bring it in. The reason why this helps, in addition to the obvious that you're writing it down and you're thinking more about, well, what am I eating, is that then I can meet you where you're at so that I'm not just giving you a diet. Okay, again, I told you I have a very close relationship with each and every one of my patients where I'm meeting them where they're at and I'm working with them in a place that's going to work for them. And so I want to see, okay, well, what are you eating? Okay, well, I see here that you're eating about 6 cookies every night. All right, well, how about for the first week you only eat 5 cookies a night? So anyway, I want people to be successful. I want to help people to really be able to take back their life, and that's only going to happen if we do it gradually in a way that doesn't stress them out. So of course we want them to not be eating bad cookies, but instead we can make healthy cookies. So there's tons of recipes, online. We have a bunch of them on our website. Jamie has put many of the recipes on the website. Most of them are desserts and snacks, and some of them are really awesome. So the point is that this is not about deprivation at all. This is about helping your body rebuild from the inside out so that you can start having better quality life and helping you where you're at. Some of this too has to, as far as what kind of diet is right for you. We all have our own personal beliefs of what's going to work for us and personal understanding of our body, right? We live in our own bodies. We need to figure out what we need. So that's a big part of it too. Not any one diet is right for everyone. Some people, the other board some people want to eat more vegetarian or vegan. Other people feel better when they eat meat at least once a day. So I'm not against any of those things, okay? People really need to figure out, and I'm supportive of people say, well, I feel really good when I eat this or that. That's good, as long as you're doing well and you're feeling good and you're, moving towards better health, then that's great. And so that's another thing to keep in mind too, as far as these different diets, we have to do whatever it is that's gonna help us, okay? So we need to stop this cycle. And by the way, I wanted to show you what I gave you in your folder. In your folder here on the right-hand side, behind the little success stories and stuff, which are just longer versions of the same ones online, but just to give you a couple of ideas of what we help with. This sugar quiz right here, I don't want to keep you guys too late, so you can take the sugar quiz on your own, okay? And so, do you guys want to take a minute to do this? It's 7:15, so maybe not. But anyway, you guys can take this home. Let me tell you what it is. It's a simple true and false, and it tells you on the bottom that if you answer false to more than 4, then you probably have an issue with sugar. So you can go online also and read Nancy Appleton's work. I did have a few of her books, but they got borrowed and just borrowed, not a So anyway, this just talks about, well, where am I at? Am I addicted to sugar? I don't know. It doesn't seem like it, but by reading this, you could determine whether or not you are at all addicted to sugar. Sugar is very addicting, by the way. I've heard a study that they did with mice or rats that sugar is more addicting than heroin. That's really scary. So it's kind of an addicting drug. So, and because our brain lights up when we eat refined sugar, our brain lights up like a pinball machine. Okay, it's because our brain needs sugar, but then it's like, that kind of sugar just makes me crazy. So again, getting back to the healthy, balanced sugar that's in fruit, our brain will be like, I could function. Okay, so it's obviously a better choice. The back talks about 146 reasons why sugar is ruining your health. So again, this is all about refined sugar. Okay, cookies, cakes, ice cream, white sugar dumping into, making cakes and whatnot. There's plenty of ways to make cakes using natural sugars. By the way, honey, I consider honey and real maple syrup natural sugars as well, right? Because those are whole foods. Those are the whole foods. So, with 4 kids, obviously I want to have, I want them to have birthday cakes, right? And so we have a recipe that we use for a nice chocolate cake that was made with honey. And it really tastes delicious, okay? The left-hand side, by the way, so as I promised you in the discussion about what we'd be doing tonight, I did promise you the foods that help to heal different issues. These lists, by the way, are taken out of the books by Anthony Williams. He has excellent information, great recipes, incredible information that's not available anywhere else. Free blogs, free information online. This stuff just is out there available. Healing foods to support your immune system, digestion, key foods to avoid. These are the 5 top things to avoid, which is kind of big. Dairy, eggs, corn, wheat, and canola oil. So all of them I've known were bad except for eggs. I used to think eggs were like one of the best foods you can eat. Not that they're necessarily bad, but for most people that are dealing with viruses in their body, and most of us have viruses in our body that are hidden, that are causing inflammation and causing problems, eggs will feed those viruses. So if you're very healthy and you don't have any health issues, you're probably fine to eat some eggs. But if you're not, it may not be the best thing. So that was kind of a hard nut for me to swallow because I'm like, eggs. We have chickens in our backyard. Mm-hmm. So, but I haven't been eating them and I actually don't miss them, which I'm really surprised I don't miss them. It used to be one of my favorite things to eat. So that was the only thing that was like, that's a bummer. But it is what it is, we got to be realistic. Foods for emotional support is on the back of that, so it's really awesome. One of my favorite things that are on here to eat, sweet potatoes. So that's something else that has been talked about. Potatoes and nightshades have been given a really bad rap. There's a medical doctor online now just, spewing all this stuff about lectins and nightshades and all this stuff, and he's just selling tons of books and tons of stuff and misleading people down another road that's not a good road. Wild blueberries are one of the most healing foods you can eat, and potatoes, by the way, are great, but don't add butter and sour cream. That's how I used to eat them. But now I'll use a little guacamole or avocado instead, or I'll just roast them and put sea salt and lots of spices on them, and they taste delicious. So, a list of foods to avoid. That's pretty self-explanatory. And then in the back of that left side of the folder is a screening form. Okay, so for anyone that doesn't mind staying and would like to do a screening before they leave tonight, I do need you to fill this out as thoroughly as you can and sign and date the bottom, and then give this form to Jamie, and then in the order in which people give them to her, we can do a couple minutes of a screening in the treatment room where I just check and see if I find any organs that are weak, any nutrition that you would respond to, and figure that out. If you'd rather not wait around tonight, you're more than welcome to fill this out and give it to Jamie, and then you can call, or we'll call you and set up a different time that you can come in. It still would be no charge, and you could have your screening. A screening is very, very, very brief, okay? Just to give me a little bit of an idea. Do I think that I can work with you? Do I think what you have going on might respond to nutrition or not? If somebody is like, yeah, I don't want to just do the screening and then have to come back again, of course, you're welcome to schedule for a full evaluation, and that's not any kind of obligation to work with me at all, because first thing I have to do is even figure out whether or not I think I could help you, okay? So the evaluation is for both of us together to figure out, is this the right place for you or not? And there's a lot of things to review with that, and so the evaluation we do in 2 parts. It's about an hour and a half in the office, the first part, and then the second part, you come back, is about 45 minutes to an hour where I explain all your findings to you and what I recommend and why I think you're having your symptoms and what you need to do and everything you need to know. And then we decide together whether or not this seems like the right fit and we should move forward or not. So that's the initial evaluation. That's $89 for those 2 parts. It includes both parts.
So how many appointments are there usually after those first 2 appointments?
It depends on what you have going on with you and how long I think you're gonna need. Well, really, let me clarify that. It depends on how you heal. Okay, so we need to see how your body's gonna heal. And I only see people as often as I need to help them continue to improve. But I also want to see people often enough with follow-up visits so that we get you better sooner than later. We don't want it to take, I have some people that say, oh yeah, I saw somebody up in Portland. Oh, when are you going to follow up? Oh, in about 6 months. Well, a lot can happen in 6 months. And we do work where it's needed, which often it is. We do work with custom designing supplements. That's what these brochures explain. The work. There's also stuff online if you prefer that. So it explains how we design custom nutrition using the whole foods and some herbal, some homeopathy. And so I don't want people just staying on their supplements and refilling them if that's not what their body needs anymore. So it's very, very custom designed. We're going to follow and see how your body does as the weeks and months unfold, and only have you do exactly what you need. You only keep the food log until you don't need to anymore, and that sort of thing. So it's just whatever you need to reach your goals, get rid of your symptoms. And obviously, just getting rid of the symptom doesn't mean you're well. Right. The symptom was the last thing to come around, right? And so we need to make sure we deal with the underlying cause of the symptom so that you not only get better, but you stay better for the rest of your life. If that's what you'd like to do, I think that's a good idea.
That's the idea, right?
And then again, like I said, and once you're better, we go into then a maintenance. So a lot of my patients that started with me several years ago, they see me a few times a year, unless they have something go on that they need to come in and get checked. So I help people with many different issues because most of my patients don't want to go to the medical doctor if they don't have to. Sometimes they have to. If it's a medical issue, I say you better go. Thank goodness I broke my hand a few years back, broke 2 bones in my hand, needed to have pins in it. I went to the medical doctor. I was really grateful. They were able to set my bones and, do all that and, have my hand work kind of as good as new. So obviously when we need medical care, that's where we need to go. When we need a dentist, that's where we need to go. But oftentimes we could address many health issues that are pretty common, we could address nutritionally. And then we'll use whatever we need to use to help people get better. So while people are filling out their forms, again, if you want to be seen, you have that all filled out as thoroughly as possible. Just give it to the form to Jamie, and I can get through. It's usually just a couple of minutes. So anybody that wants to do that tonight and you're willing to wait around, we'll put on our video. There's still more food. Relax. And again, if you'd rather not and you want to come back another time, that's fine. Does anybody have a burning question they feel like they really need to ask? Yes.
On your foods to avoid, you address genetically modified. Why is that necessarily bad? Can't there be good genetically modified? I mean, after all, that's what that's how evolution happens, is through genetic modification.
Well, what they're I'm not an expert in genetic modification, but we're talking about the glyphosates and the poisons that happen with the genetically modified food. So that's probably not a good thing for me to get into right now, but
You
it
know,
is
I would
something.
think it would be something like sugar. There's different kinds of sugar. I would think there's different types of genetic modification.
Yeah, my understanding is that what happens is genetically modified food, he's talking about the kind of genetically modified foods that are designed to be able to withstand bugs and that they end up kind of they're like self-producing pesticides. My understanding is when it gets into our body, it gets into our DNA and creates pesticides inside our cells. It's pretty dangerous stuff. It's pretty bad. So all corn is now genetically modified, and so there's some. You might be talking about there's some foods that are genetically modified without poisoning the food. So there's a difference there, but the typically genetically modified foods are not very good for our DNA. So that's why. Yeah. Anyway, any other questions?
Is it organic corn, not GMO though?
Right, organic corn should not be GMO corn. So yes, organic. So if you're gonna eat, that's what I tell my son. My teenager loves his chips, his chips and his nachos and whatnot. So I tell him, well, if you're gonna eat corn, at least now that he's not living at home, and I used to buy him organic corn, but I said at least get organic corn. If nothing else, get organic corn because otherwise it is GMO. So it's just too many toxins, it's just adding to all these things that just the less we can, the more we can protect our body from toxins, the better. Yeah, go ahead and give them to Jamie. Go ahead and number them. Yeah. Okay, so thank you all for coming. I know some of you came from out of town, and I really appreciate you spending some time on, pursuing new ideas for your health. I hope this has helped. And anyone who doesn't stick around, like I said, feel free to give us a call if you have any questions. Visit my website. If you have somebody who you care about who wasn't able to come, you can refer them to my website. There's a 2-minute video, and then there's a longer video, and then hopefully there'll be this video. There's a thyroid healing video on YouTube. And so just want to provide as much information as possible. Thanks for coming. We'll see you soon. Okay. So that's, what I'm here for, is to help people as much as possible get their health restored. So any way I can help, just let me know.